Hello, everybody. P. Francis McNichol here. It's Saturday afternoon, and I made a couple good purchases of gems lately after a couple weeks ago. And the high points, if you remember correctly, got four high points, and only one of them was par. Okay, up to par. Uh, the three other ones were subpar. Anyways, when I go to this one gun shop, it's only for guns, and they will purchase. They're in FFL. You can have guns sent there. They do the transfer. They do some gunsmithing. They also have a range out back. If you buy a gun, you can take it out there. I don't know the actual specifications and ramifications for all the different types of weapons you can take in the back, um, and go by the range rules. I don't like shooting like that because I don't like people looking over my shoulder and telling me when I can shoot, and then put your gun down because you're done shooting, and you have to make sure it's unloaded before you go off the range, and all these little tiny regulations that are for their safety. When I would prefer to go to a friend's house and have open range, so to speak, in the woods somewhere nice, safe, and secure backstop area. You can work on quick draws. You don't have to be relegated by any other person's rules about going through the numbers with everything you use the gun for. I believe I'm safe enough as it is, especially my handling of weapons and being in a safe direction. I love rapid tapping. I love seeing how fast a gun can fire and try to be accurate. Because after a while, if you're too fast firing, everybody can attest to this. If you're too fast and test firing a gun, the rounds go everywhere. Okay, unless you have a B-27 target, silhouette target, uh, average torso size, you'll get some rounds on there close up, rapid tapping, but not at 25. Not at 15. So you practice at close range. You go back more, and I back myself up while we're still shooting into a berm at an inanimate object, and work on that target acquisition and try to keep things within a foot, having multiple shots on target very quickly. And a lot of times I just shoot for that effect to rapid tap, or a longer distance, bam, I pull out, shoot 10 feet, 10 yards, 15 yards. I pull out, shoot, the threat is over with. Okay. How close am I to center mass? How close am I to headshots? Can I then work on double taps? Two to the body, one to the head, because he has a vest on. He or she has a vest on, and you want one to the head to incapacitate the threat, so on and so forth. When I do some of those tests on my own, they're not dangerous, and I don't feel like I have to be under the control of a range master when I can do what a range master does. And I do shoot well most of the time, but under their circumstances of everybody stopping all at once on the line, everybody going out, and making sure their weapon is down and unloaded, and then going out and adjusting your target and coming back. Then you have time to reload, and then you got to wait for other people that are still reloading. Sometimes 5 minutes doing one task, okay, is a safe way to do it. Don't get me wrong, is a safer way to do it with 30 other people on a firing line. But unfortunately, it wastes my time, and it wastes everybody else's time who are more proficient in the handgun use. And mind you, you might have a bunch of rookies in there also. What I noticed when I used this range before, more recently, probably 6 months ago, it was really hot. It was one of the hottest days of the summer. And I was sweating, and I was like, man, and this one guy keeps on talking to me. And we're sitting there, we're having a nice conversation because we shot ours, and everybody else is done, and we hear an occasional boom, shotgun, or I want to say AR, whatever it was, a couple different ones going off at different times. It's like, yeah, I can understand what you're saying. Okay, boom. Okay, yeah. And he was telling me all these stories about the Chia Pets, the CIA, and what he used to do with the CIA, and being just kind of a laid back, kind of goofy guy. and I didn't know if he was MO or not, mentally off or not. Um, I was like, oh, okay. And, he wasn't, spinning yarn too much or making this fishtail too big. But I was like, okay. But it was something I didn't want to deal with. Okay. While we're sitting there waiting on everybody to finish up their magazine, and the range master is controlling us, so we're standing back talking to each other. And he wasn't a bad guy. The guy I was speaking to, don't get me wrong, but it was like, I'd rather have someone like that, my friend or something, even him at my own location where we're not being overlooked or we're not being, overshadowed by range masters and their orders to do this and that. And it's like, okay, well, even then, when I shot one little target this big at basically 10 yards, I was with a little Keltec 3AT I just bought that day, and I had a 32 with less kick, Keltec 32. I figured I just want to make sure I have a 380, and that's the smallest handgun I have, comparable to the LCP, and they're tried and true, long trigger pull. And I was like, man, I was barely on. I was all over the place in this. I want to say a foot and a half by two, no, a foot and a half by a foot target at 10 yards or 10. It was 10 yards. The length of 10 yards on the football field is how I gauge that in memory. And I was like, man, that's horrible, because they were not, in a smaller group, and they were not even, within a circle like this as it starts to expand a foot across. And I was like, oh, that was horrible. But at least I knew what the gun felt like. It was familiarization with how that gun felt like, and trying, single hand like that. And you really can't work on stress tests on a range like that. Pull shoot, pull shoot. Okay, someone has a drop on you. They're about to put a bullet in you. Where is your gun? How fast can you pull it and get off one round? We did that in the academy too, where we have our holster here. They'd hit the buzzard, one shot from the hip, pull shoot, pull shoot. Okay, and there's a silhouette in front of you 7 feet away, 10 feet away, 10 yards away, 15 yards away. And I believe it was more in close to 10 yards, if I'm not mistaken. It was really fun to do it that way, but that's how you have to kind of stress test yourself with that loud horn, and see how fast you can quickly withdraw your weapon and utilize it to end the threat. Shooting center mass. Center mass. Okay? We shoot to stop. We don't shoot to kill. Okay? I'm going to tell you that first of all. Someone might say, well, God, why would you say that? You're a prepper, and if without rule of law comes down, then you have to defend yourself. And it's like, yeah, but also without rule of law might not last forever. The apocalypse might not be a total end times apocalypse. And we have rule of law eventually. I don't want to be sued by some military tribunal for executing people. Okay? Or taking away their livelihood and rights by killing them, like the federal government can basically incarcerate Americans now. If they have a legitimate self-defense shooting, the federal government is trying to make that a crime because you deprive that person of his rights by taking his life. Okay, yeah, okay. I took a person's life who was about to kill me. So my feeling is I shoot to stop the threat right there and then. Okay? It's not to necessarily kill him. My intention is to stop the threat immediately. And if it so happens it takes that person's life, usually a male figure, then I am covered by natural law all over the globe. No Nuremberg, no Geneva Convention, no war crimes trials. And without rule of law becomes rule of law, and they're like, a guy was minding his own business, protecting his own property, and these guys came on talking smack, harassing his children, He saw one of them had a gun. He believed his children and his family and himself were in dire bodily injury or fear of death, and he took the amount of action needed to end the threat. There's 3 or 4 people. Everybody gets first before everybody gets second, and they're all 3 now fighting for their life because they mess with the wrong people. And that's how Americans should think about defending their property and their family, and shooting to stop the threat. If a person is holding a gun on my children, they're getting a headshot. So that gun is not going to harm me or my children or any friends or any passerby. That's just me. But you shoot to stop the threat. So if 1 shot to the torso with each of the 3 individuals is all that is needed, okay, and the third one is tweaking a little, maybe he gets 2. But you stop the threat, and 3 people ganging up on 1 person also is deadly force. And the possibility of bodily damage and injury. The threat of bodily injury or death is all that is needed to defend yourself by natural law. Okay, that being said, I went to this place and talking about going test firing. I want to test fire a bunch of the latest guns, a lot of the cheap ones in particular, to see how good they are and are they viable, and get to know their feel. Excuse me. And one I really want to test out now because it's so ugly. It's kind of a cool color. It looks like almost a safety flare gun, but it's a Sky SCCY Industries. And do a quick review of it. Here it is, orange in color. This gun right now is loaded, and it has no safety. It's the CPX2. I just so happen to have this holster out in the last 2 months, and so I put it in there. It fits perfectly. So I can put this on my belt. It'll be a simple pull and shoot, from the side of the hip, right to my side. So I was like, oh, 12 plus 1 is 13. And then I took it home, and I'm like, no wonder it was only $149, but brand new condition. Very pretty orange. Actually, it's not ugly. It's a very pretty orange, and you want to make sure that your children of all ages don't come in contact with this and think it's a play toy. Okay, that's my number 1 warning. I have a lot of kids for children, my sons and their half-sister. Nice little gun, $149. I went in because I spoke to the company before, and I said, oh, I like this gun, but this gun is beat up. So I'll if it's not there tomorrow, I'll come in tomorrow, I'll buy it. I mean, if it is there tomorrow, I'll buy it if someone else didn't buy it. They said, oh, okay, I'll come back. I said, I'm not putting any money down, so try to sell it, but I'll come in tomorrow. So I was looking at one of the Rugers, one of the cheap Tauruses. I think it was a G2C, but it was all oiled wrong, like grease was on it, like car grease, dirty scratches on it, no damage to the slide whatsoever. And I was like, yeah, $200, no. I was going to talk them down when I went in the next day. So I went in the next day, I saw this. I was like, yeah, man, that sticks out. They make all these colors. The Skies make all these colors. And the CPX2, I don't know if I have one or not, but I want to get about 5 of the Skies, whether they're CPX1 or 2, or they have the safety on the side. And I saw this, $149, no safety, just like the Glocks, like I was trained. Long trigger pull, so always be careful. You don't want to put this in any pocket if something snags through your pants and pulls it backwards. Okay, then you shoot your foot off. But you can holster this and use it safely with 1 round in the chamber. So I was like trying to figure out, okay, it's 10 plus 1. 1 magazine it came with. I think it had 2, but the guy who was selling it for $149, it was basically given to the company to sell for $149. He said yes, because I had many of them and it's great condition. And I think, I'll describe this in a second. I think there was supposed to be 2 magazines, but there was only 1. So you pull out the magazine release button there, or release catch button. Uh, Release latches and catches are usually the European models are on the bottom. Simply push the button. Very ergonomic. It's actually a nice feeling gun. Okay, nice grips. With this little extension here, I can get all my fingers around. Safely hold this, one-handed shooting. So I take the magazine out, very easy. Rack to the rear. One extra round here. Slide stop. Nothing whatsoever. I love guns and I try to handle them as safe as possible, but I do not fear them, and I do fear them. When I know the gun and I know how to operate it, I want to make sure I'm safe as possible and go through the numbers to make the gun safe. You see there's no safety on either side. This is you pop this out right here, and then the whole gun comes apart. All you need is like a little flathead screwdriver. It's very easy. No round in the chamber. Long trigger pull. Double strike capabilities, I believe. It's hammer fired. See the opening there? All the way in there is a hammer if you can't see it. It looks like a 2 3/4 inch barrel or 3-inch barrel. And a lot of people know these guns. And I've heard nothing. Well, let me rephrase that. I've heard and I've researched good videos about the SCCYs in the last 24 hours. And I was like, yeah. Okay, why do some people think they're necessarily junk? They're a lot better than high points. They're probably more reliable. And one person, not an naysayer, but they said it jammed with every kind of different round that was like 147, 124 grain. And it only worked good with 115 grains, 9mm. Okay, so it might be finicky on some ammunition. And the impression I got from that video was high pressured ammunition. And I don't know why that would hinder the lockup if it's moving at a faster bullet is leaving at faster velocity. The pressures are backing at a faster velocity. Is it going so quick that it's missing the return round up into the chute? Okay, from the magazine. I don't know. But I've seen, with the exception of that, and it was multiple different rounds that they test fired this gun through. Iraq veteran 888 said theirs was wonderful. I think it might have been a CPX1 even. Okay, same thing, but not upgraded. This is a CPX2, supposed to be upgraded more. And it's a simple gun, $149, $159 total out the door. Came back and got it. I bought it late, and I came back the next morning after my name came back. Brand new condition, nice and shiny orange. You can't see with basically the video, but it's bright orange. Okay, and so now with the magazine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rounds. 10 rounds and 11 total to top off. So you have a 11-shot handgun that really works. And yes, I want to test fire it out and plink and have fun with it. And I'm not going through all those specifications. Okay, it's a little beefy. Everybody says that. It's a little beefy around the handle for a double stacked magazine. So it's a little beefy. Okay, but you have some protection that once you go to the range and make sure you have the right ammo for this, which is probably cheaper 115 range ammo. Okay, then you can experiment out from there and maybe buy a little of a certain ammunition you want for more of a defense load, but make sure it works in here. And then you have confidence in this. Okay, doing the quick draw, doing the aiming, doing all the different tests, maybe two to the chest, one to the head to stop the threat. Okay, seeing how accurate this can be for self-defense, especially within 10 yards, this is no joke. This is twice as nice as the High Point C9. It looks like they cared about making a product from scratch that, yes, has some of the same workings that all the new polymers have, but it's worth much more. It's probably worth about $250. This gun right here is probably worth about $250 brand new. So I purchased it yesterday, and there wasn't much. There was a lock on it, on the trigger, and it had a couple keys, so you can put this away, unload it, of course. You can put it away with the lock, and the kids will never experiment with it and try to put rounds in it. So here's this lock. Give you an idea of its shape. This whole shroud, both sides, envelops the whole trigger guard mechanism, and you use the key to undo it. And so it has some regular flat base plates for the magazines. There's 3 here. Plus the slight extension, which I want to keep this one on so I get a better grip. Okay. And if you look at the box, there's a cutout for the gun with that extended magazine, and there's another magazine for the flats right here. So that might have been the only detraction that I bought this. I didn't even know how many magazines would be allowed. Okay. And for 149 bucks in this day and age, people should be able to go and purchase a handgun like that with the first sign of trouble, with, let's say, threats from a neighbor, threats from someone from work, someone who got arrested because they attacked you and they happen to recognize you on the street. Anybody stalking you whatsoever. Okay. Maybe someone following you home from the mall because they saw you had purchased something very nice that they want, and they're going to rob you, and they're okay with killing you. There's many videos out there right now showing people not caring about executing, especially white people on the street, for no reason other than being a white person. And I don't want racial strife, but there are all these reasons. Black people have just as much right to defend themselves in the inner city, and the police in those cities act like the Second Amendment doesn't exist. You're in a bad neighborhood, you're not allowed to carry a gun, or if you're carrying a gun, it's illegal automatically, and it's against the law automatically, or you're a drug dealer automatically. You know, we have to adjust our thoughts about making guns more and more prolific. The more guns we have, the less crime we have, because, you know, an armed society is a polite society. Who said that? Mark Twain? Okay, something to that effect. So, this, I look forward to test fire very quickly. And I hope, I'm topping off right now, I'm hoping to use as a beater gun that works, a beater gun that I can trust to defend my life with. And it's going to be my, basically my nightstand gun. And then if I have to defend myself anywhere near my apartment, my home, right outside, someone breaking in, then I can sacrifice this gun and none of my other guns. And this is This is a Black Hawk holster. It's padded, very comfortable. Once this is on your belt, it probably will not be yanked out. It has one snap button there. And I just adjusted the snap button. I was like, hey, I can throw this on and, with my belt and walk around town, and I don't have to sacrifice my SIG 320, okay, when I'm all jacked out with 5 magazines. And this is enough to save one's life. Great deal, $159. Now, I don't recommend just using it to defend yourself without test firing it, without making sure it works, without running it through some tests, maybe some rapid taps, maybe a whole magazine run a few times in a row. Excuse me. Making sure that it's very accurate, it's very dependable, and when you pull that double action trigger, it works every time. So you don't need that much money to defend yourself. This is a gem to me at $159. I do not have to send through Guns America somebody money and pay extra money for the shipping and then pay extra money for the FFL transfer. One transfer fee, one cost with taxes, $159, 10 plus 1. Okay. Most gun battles are within 5 rounds. I think it was 3 feet, 3 rounds. What was the other 3? 3 seconds. Okay. If you go by that alone, then this is plenty. And you know what? Your son, when he grows up, or your daughter, when they want to shoot and they're legal and they're able to carry open carry or carry conceal, hey, Dad, can I buy that gun from you? All right, it cost me $159. It was under $200. You got $200 for it? Your family will probably like something like that. And then they can pass it on to their family. So, anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. And yes, I'm opinionated. And yes, I give my outlook and how I see a lot of things with my experience. And really, I wouldn't want to be on the range and be a range master. I understand how it's done. But when you're at the range or you're in a safe location and you're working to learn the gun, put it through the ringer, all the tests, as far as you can, one shot, and bring it in, and then closer and closer, more rapid taps. If it's about 15 yards and there's many rounds coming your way, can you put a lot of rounds down on target also to stop the threat? Can you do 2 to the body, 1 to the face? Because, okay, these people are so bad, they have their own vests on. And so can you eliminate ISIS like that quickly? 1 body shot, 1 headshot. Okay, 1 headshot, and then a couple extra as they're going down because they're still holding on to their weapon that is, basically a threat to you. So be safe out there, guys, but keep on looking. Lots of gems out there. This is almost a brand new Sky. I don't know when they were made, to be honest. The Sky CPX2. I really don't care because they're not my favorite gun in the world, but they are a better quality than High Points in general. And I have no doubt that these are going to be just as dependable as the High Points, because I do like the High Point weapons in general, especially the JHP 45s with a 45 caliber ACP round, having stopping power and 10 plus 1 also. So anyways, guys, have a great day, and I thank you.